Manchester United 2, Bournemouth 0. Manchester United win. We're 3 days away now from this massive game against Spurs, but it's not rocket science. I'm furious about two things. Well, I'm not furious actually, but there are two things that do slightly irritate me about United, and that is that it's two things that the fans have been going on about for so long, but apparently the fans don't know better than Mourinho, who gets paid millions of pounds. Blah, blah, blah. We had this with Van Gaal. Everyone was like, why doesn't he pick Herrera and Mata? Why does he keep picking Fellaini? And Van Gaal ended up out of the club and Herrera ended up being Player of the Year the next year because Van Gaal was wrong and he didn't know what was right for the club. And I think Mourinho, when it comes to Pogba, he doesn't realise, and will he realise in time for Saturday, that, you know, I don't think Pogba started that game brilliantly. He started off good and got better and better and better and better. But is that a surprise? Is it a surprise that he got better and better and better when you think that, you know, it's very difficult for anybody, Rashford, Martial, Lingard, to just hit the ground running when they've not really been playing the right way for a number of weeks. Pogba got better and better and better in that game. And he got better and better and better because every time he got the ball, he realised, oh, I can run into this space that I like to run into as a left-sided attacking midfielder. Look at all this space for me to run into. All that's in my way is what I would expect. The opposition. I haven't got Alexis Sanchez running into my space. I haven't got Mata coming across into my space and swapping with him. I've got space to run into and express myself as a midfielder who is not a defensive midfielder, who is not a box-to-box midfielder. I'm a box-to-box stroke attacking midfielder. And Pogba got better and better today because he could play with that space that he wants, because he had Martial for most of the game and sometimes Rashford, who hug the touchline and don't want to come into his space. And that's why we saw a better Pogba. And that's why if Sanchez plays on the left on Saturday and Pogba plays on the left, we might see a bad Pogba again because they'll both get in each other's ways. Very, very simple. And then the second thing, Ander Herrera, who was my man of the match and I thought was absolutely everywhere, absolutely everywhere. He was superb. He was superb, and I felt that we were being sort of suckered into something tonight by Mourinho. I think it was like, oh, we got Shaw starting, Martial starting, Rashford starting, Lingard starting, Herrera starting, Pogba. We love that. And then he sort of slipped Fellaini in. And I was like, because that's what he really wants to do. He wants Fellaini playing on Saturday. And I was thinking, yeah, he's given us everything he wants, but it's really about slipping Fellaini in so we can get him back involved. Didn't work for me. Don't know why he was involved. I don't know why McTominay didn't play. Apparently we've got no injuries, so why couldn't McTominay play? I don't know why Fellaini played. I don't think he was terrible, but after 4 years of Fellaini, I know what you get with Fellaini. I don't need to see him. He's a contract rebel. Get him out of the club. But what I did really like from Herrera was that he played in the Matic position and probably played better than Matic has played there for a long time. I don't think that's Herrera's position. I think Herrera needs to play where Fellaini did. But that pass that set up the goal, and I say set up the goal because Lingard got the assist and Smalling scored it. But if you have a percentage, 90% of that goal came from Herrera. That pass, we watched it and we were like, what's he doing there? And then suddenly the whole back line and midfield, 8 players of Bournemouth are killed by one pass. It was the sort of thing Barcelona or City do. And only Herrera can do that, and Pogba. It was absolutely brilliant. And the one player, I think Pogba's forced his way into the FA Cup semi-final now, and I think Herrera's nailed it on. He was absolutely superb today. I mean, that pass, like his assist against City a couple of weeks ago, was just world class. But it wasn't just that. It was his tenacity. He never stopped. Even when he didn't make a tackle, he'd get up and go again. His passing, his quick movement to the ball. It was the Herrera of last season. And again, that irritates me a little bit with Jose because we're in April now. You started the season, Jose, with a midfield three of Fellaini, Matic and Pogba. You had Herrera. You've ignored him for most of the season. And he puts in performances like that, and he's probably one of the best players we've got. What a waste of his talent this season. Why has he not been playing? But actually, let's forget about that. Let's look at the future. He must play against the Spurs on Saturday because he was absolutely fantastic. A midfield three of Matic, Herrera and Pogba, and let's go for it. And don't put Sanchez on the left. Price Sampson says, most impressed with Martial tonight, a lot better. I'm not so sure that people will reflect that with Martial. I just want to do my player ratings as well. Let's hit those player ratings while we've got that, because that will bring into it. Phil Jones isn't disappearing. Phil Jones hasn't played for so long that I didn't have one ready to chuck him on the pitch. But I'm going to give Phil Jones a generous 7. I thought, look, Phil Jones I would sell because he's always injured. If Phil Jones could guarantee he was going to play every game of the season, I've got nothing against him. He's all action. He gives his all. I thought he played really well. I'll give Smalling a 7 as well. A little bit rusty, but it's not a fluke that Smalling keeps scoring goals. And look, I wouldn't play Smalling first choice with bet that he plays in Bay's position and Bay's there. But as a backup centre back, I think Smalling's been very, very, very consistent for us this season. Darmian I thought was atrocious. I'd give him a 4, but I think we played him just to give Valencia a rest, so I agree with that. And I think Luke Shaw, I'd give him a 6. I couldn't give him any more. He wasn't bad. He wasn't great. He hasn't played in ages, so to expect him to hit the ground running is unfair. But I thought he did okay. I'll give De Gea a 6. I mean, for his standards, he didn't have a lot to do, which is good. De Gea has many games where he has a lot to do. So I thought I'd give De Gea a 6. Durrani wants to give Jones a 5, but there you go. Herrera, I'd give a 9. I thought he was absolutely immense. Pogba, I can't quite give him a 9 because he didn't start the game off brilliantly, but he got better and better. I'll give Pogba an 8, but probably really an 8.5. Fellaini, I'll give a 6. He wasn't atrocious. He wasn't atrocious by any means, but he made these 5-yard passes and he won balls in the air, but there was nothing amazing about that. Lingard, I don't know whether to give him a 5. I mean, his passing was atrocious, but he did spin around a couple of times. I want to give him a 6, but I think I've got to be fair and give him a 5. It wasn't his best game today. His passing wasn't good. Probably would have expected a little bit more from Lingard, to be fair. Rashford. I'm going to give Rashford and Martial 7s. I think they really tried really hard, and there were really good bits. But I think there were also you probably wanted a little bit more. They weren't bad. They were better than average. I mean, there was a couple of bits from Martial where it was, brilliant, and just the final ball let him down. I mean, the way he runs at people, nobody else can do that. And that one with Rashford where he tackled on the right-hand side and he ran through. But I don't know why Rashford takes free kicks and corners. He can't beat the first man. But I think that's fair. I think I'd give Martial and Rashford a 7. I mean, for anybody who says Martial doesn't track back, I think they need to sit down on that today. But no, I thought he was good. Fellaini an 8, says Connor Ellis. Based on what? It's yours. Mohammed says Shaw 8, based on what? Louise says Pogba a 9. I can sort of see that. Just Callum says Lingard a 7. A few people giving Shaw a 7. Yeah, if you want to knock it down. Rashford a 6, Martial a 6, Lingard a 9. I think people. I'm not reading any more Lingard ones out. I didn't think he was very good at all. His passing was terrible. I mean, I'd happily knock Lingard up to a 6. I nearly gave him a 6, but his passing wasn't good. He did get this. Yeah, tell you what, let's change that to a 6 because he did get the assist. I forgot about that. So, although it was a simple pass, it was Herrera's thing, but we'll give him a 6 because he did get an assist. But apart from that, his passing wasn't great. Martial nearly cost us the game. What match were you watching? Oh, yeah. Very different scores anyway. But going back to that, who has played themselves into that starting lineup for Saturday? Herrera, yes. Pogba, yes. Anybody else? Young and Valencia are going to play. De Gea's going to play. Bay's going to play. I think Jones might have forced his way in, although I still probably would go with Smalling and Bay at the moment. I don't think Jones is totally ready yet. And I do think that we'll probably see a front three of Lingard, Lukaku and Sanchez, which worries me because Lingard's right-footed, so he'll play on the right. He doesn't play off the left, and that means Sanchez on the left, and that means a massive problem for Pogba. But I think Jose got a lot of things right tonight. He played a lot of the players that he should have played. He rested some of the players that he needed to rest. I think even Darmian, as bad as he is, it was a good idea to play him because he needed to rest Valencia. But it's going to be a massive step up against Spurs. And we did well tonight. We got the 3 points. I mean, Mourinho is very focused on them 3 points for the league. And that's a really, really good thing for him. And he'll feel happy with the workout tonight. But I still think there's a lot of questions about going into a game like Spurs. And yet again, we'll see a different 11 because he has to do that. Herrera had the most touches and passes in the game, says Absolute Muppet. I thought Herrera was the big positive tonight. Pogba, you expect it. I know he's not always delivered it, but you expect that from Pogba. That's what he should be doing. Herrera was just like We saw a glimpse against City, then he got pulled off at half-time, I think unfairly, but we had to change the system against West Brom, and then today he was just brilliant. Leadership as well, pointing where to go. And that's why I've said in the past, I think Herrera as a potential captain would be perfect, because, I mean, this run by Lingard is good, but this pass by Herrera takes out 5 Bournemouth players. It's just superb, absolutely superb. The run off the ball by Lingard was very good as well. Actually, I'm glad I changed him to a 6. But he was man of the match. Herrera, comfortably man of the match. I think Pogba gets the status because that's what Pogba does, doesn't he? You know, Pogba's a star, Herrera's a footballer. But they were both very good. But it would be definitely Herrera for me. Pratik says he'd go De Gea, Valencia, Bay, Smalling, Young, Matic, Herrera, Pogba, Lingard, Sanchez, Lukaku. I think you'll get 11 out of 11 as well, Pratik. If that is the 11, I think you'll get that right as well. But too much negativity and not enough belief. You know what I would say about Jose, though? It's very easy for people to be critical of him, and he is the manager, and I like Mourinho, but I did say after the West Brom game, he's the manager, he's got to take responsibility. He is right about Pogba and Rashford to a certain extent. They do take too many touches on the ball. So when Mourinho's saying after the game, too many touches on the ball, Pogba does do too many touches on the ball sometimes, and Rashford does it as well. And we need to move that ball a little bit quicker, because, and I understand Jose's frustrations there. But as I said when we beat Bournemouth 2-0, and as I said after we lost to West Brom, and as I said after the derby, and as a lot of you said as well, let's not jump on any bandwagons. We could lose to Spurs on Saturday 4-0. I don't think we will. I think we're going to win. I said after the West Brom game, minutes afterwards, I still think we're going to beat them. But we could do. So any positivity bandwagon you jump on about Pogba, Mourinho, whatever, you could make yourself look really stupid late on Saturday night. So what I would say is, let's take it for what it is. We took 3 points. There was 2 really standout performances, Pogba and Herrera. Everybody else did okay. I think the only person who came out badly was Darmian, but we know he's going anyway. Everybody else did okay, and out of everyone who did okay, and the people who are on the bench who didn't play, your Bays, your Rojos, Sanchez's, he'll forge a team from that. But Pogba and Herrera were really, really positive, and let's just not jump on any bandwagons. I'm really excited about this game against Spurs at the weekend, really excited, but it's going to be very, very difficult. And actually, I'll say it bluntly now, our season depends on that game. We must win that game, because our season's over if we don't. We're going to get top 4, we know we are, and 2nd, 3rd or 4th doesn't matter. You don't have to do a qualifier in the Champions League. Are you really going to celebrate finishing above Liverpool and Spurs when you're miles behind City? It's a hollow victory. It's all about the FA Cup for me now. We've pretty much guaranteed Champions League. It's all about the FA Cup, and that's what we'll be starting with tomorrow. We've got fan cams coming up from Flex. Keep an eye out for those. Tomorrow at 1 o'clock we've got a tactics debrief / Spurs early preview. Loads going on. Tomorrow night live at 8 o'clock. Lots going on as we build towards that Spurs game. We're getting really close to 215,000 subscribers as well. So if you've not subscribed to the channel, please click the subscribe button in the bottom right hand corner. Really appreciate that. Thanks everyone for watching tonight. We're not doing a call-in tonight because I've got something I've got to go and do, but that will be back on Saturday. But thankfully, we're not melting down. We're not talking about anything dramatic anyway. And you'll have the fan cams coming up very, very soon. So thanks everyone for watching. Pogba and Herrera steal the show for me, and we roll on to that Spurs game. I don't think, generally, job done, good, could be better. Maybe that's the tagline. Speak to you all soon. Smash the like button on the way out and subscribe if you're new. You've all been fantastic tonight. Really enjoyed the watch along. And we've got a new name for Rodney. It's Lodney. He says Pogba's crap, and Pogba sat him down. Take the L, Lodney. See you all tomorrow.